All right, welcome back. It's time for us to get into some community-focused conversations. And today we're going to the Volta region. Now, there's an institute there that is giving us a bit of a feel-good story, something a bit more positive, apart from all the stories of drudgery that we've been dealing with in the last few days. This is a little more positive. Father Dogli Memorial Institute. Some students there, despite the challenges that they have to go through, a number of them are pretty successful in what they've done. Let's take a look at this story by our colleague Desmond Ago, and we will get into some conversations.
Although technical and vocational institutes have been segregated from the Ghana Education Service and placed directly under the Ministry of Education to ensure smooth coordination for it to receive the attention it deserves, most technical institutions still face several challenges. The lack of school buildings and its facilities, lack of human resources to fill spaces in the school, lack of machines for training, among others, have hindered the development of students in these institutions. Students of the Father Dogli Memorial Technical Institute in New Ayoma in the Jasikan district of the Oti region are now competing with animals for space to study in some dilapidated and uncompleted classroom structures. According to the students, the numerous challenges in the school are putting them at a disadvantage and are thus appealing for help.
The lack of classroom, chairs, dormitory, etc., etc. We don't have full class yet. When it's about to rain, we need to close and go to the dormitory and go and sleep. So all these things is affecting our academically.
This is my classroom. Whenever we are learning, rain want to fall, the rain will be entering. Because of the air taking the rain, it will be entering the room, falling on us. Whenever we are learning, all those things, they don't know how to solve those problems. When we are in the classroom again, goats will be entering the classroom, fowls will be entering, whilst human beings are teaching. Whilst human beings are in the classroom. So say, please, I want you to help us about do something about it. The room, because we don't have anyone about it, that is why this will be going like that.
Challenges there, baby, plenty. When it comes to infrastructures, dormitories, classrooms, and a lot of stuff. We can't say it all. So if you are able to help us, especially the government, to help a lot.
The school's library as well is not equipped with modern books and technology. The school's librarian says most books in the library are outdated.
Since the introduction of the TVET, we've not received much books in regards to those particular courses. And this is one of the reasons why the library lacks a lot of books for the students. When you move backwards a bit and you take a shot of behind you, you realize that most of the books there are not relevant to what we do over here. Because as far as the technical courses are concerned, most of these books were brought in so many years ago. And right now, they are not relevant to the courses we do. So we would like to have more books that are very relevant now, pertaining to the courses that they are doing.
Bridget Jaka is the principal of the institution and has been speaking to Citi News on the challenges of the school.
In actual fact, we have a whole lot of challenges I have to talk about. The first one has to do with infrastructure. There's a technical institution, and then there's the need for students to practice on the skills that they have been exposed to. But we don't have workshops in most of the programs that we run over here. We have about 9 programs that we run over here. Hospitality and then catering management is one of the courses that we run. And then we have put up our own a small laboratory, but the tools and equipment are not there. Then when we come to electrical engineering, also we need equipment and then the tools that will help the student to practice with. We are appealing to stakeholders to help us beef up our infrastructure needs in terms of classrooms, dormitories, and then also equipping our department that we have.
Despite the challenges the school is plagued with, some 147 people, mostly youth, have successfully completed a 24-week intensive competency-based training in the oil palm production under an agricultural, technical and vocational education training program in a bid to rekindle the interest in the production of oil palm. Some participants say the future of oil palm production looks brighter, but want support from government.
We came to learn about oil palm plantation, and we've gotten an insight in the oil palm industry. So it has enlightened me on how to go about with the oil palm, the opportunities and the benefits in oil palm. So as I go, I would love to work with the knowledge I've gained and the skills I've gained from here.
Now we have the skill. We have the zeal to do something. We are ready to start something, because if we are waiting for the government work, I don't think that one will be possible, because we are the youth are many in the country. So so far as we are ready to start something, if the government supports us a little to start, then it can even reduce unemployment.
Now that I'm done with the course, I don't have adequate fund, but I would like the government to support me. So I want to go into nursery after this program, so the government should support me.
Despite the school's efforts in molding lives of the youth across the country, the Father Dogli Memorial Technical Institute is still bedeviled with some challenges and is calling on stakeholders to come to their aid.
Okay, so you heard from students and instructors at the Father Dogli Memorial Technical Institute in the Volta region. I mean, it's always great to see people rise above the challenges that are presented before them and make something out of themselves. And oil palm is a huge conversation around the world. We use, you know, the products of that for soap. I mean, the palm oil we use in our homes for our food, so many different things, right? So let's speak to our Volta regional correspondent, Desmond Agor, and just get a little more insight into what has been happening on that front. Desmond, good morning.
Good morning, Grace.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Okay, so Desmond, and we've seen the report. It's an uplifting story, because we do know that Ghana, and particularly our educational sector, has been riddled with so many problems, so many challenges, especially when it comes to TVET. But these students have been able to brave through it all, and they're successful. And what have you found? I mean, you've been there, you've seen them. Just tell us a little bit more about what's happening there.
Okay, thank you, Grace. This is a school built somewhere in the 60s or early 70s. But since then, there has been no improvement in terms of infrastructure, books, workshops. Almost all the things in the school are still those built in the early days. So students have to sit in uncompleted classrooms. Their dormitories are not enough for them to be sleeping in. So the management is trying their best as well by putting up some more infrastructures to accommodate these students. The school is having a large land for farming, but where to do the practicals is the challenge for them. They don't have any place to do their practicals. When you go to the home econs area, you can see that although they deal with food, the place is not properly covered. The infrastructure is not properly covered, thereby making beings to be entering into the class, carrying desks and other stuff, although it should have been a hygienic area. So all this is causing students not to be enjoying learning or academic activities at the Father Dogli Memorial Technical Institute.
Okay, Desmond, so the institute, was it privately established or is it a government establishment? Do you have that information?
Yes, please. According to what I've gotten, it's a government institution.
Okay. Has it always been so since it was put up in the 60s, 70s, or it only at some point along the line became? It's always been a government institution?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do we have any information? I mean, have the stakeholders of the school, those who run it, have any of them engaged, say, the Ghana Health Service or the Ministry of Education at any point, to find out why there seems to be some kind of neglect on their end?
So I was able to speak to only the principal of the school, and she told me since the school was segregated from the Ghana Education Service and placed directly under the Ministry of Education, they were hopeful the school would see an upliftment, but since then, nothing has happened.
Okay, we have a minister for TVET, under the Ministry of Education. Do you know if at any point she's engaged or her desk has engaged the school, or has anything like that come up at any point?
For that, I can't really talk about that because I wasn't briefed on that, so I may not be able to give you an accurate information on that.
Okay, but Desmond, so you mentioned that there's a farm there, right? I'm guessing this is where they're growing maybe some of the fruits, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
but what kind of systems and structures do they need to take on their practicals? Do you have an idea of that? What do the practicals look like?
So the training for those involved in the oil palm production is to equip them or to make them open to the job market. If you have these skills to be able to produce palm oil or oil palm on their own, to be able to establish their own businesses. But the practical aspect is where the challenge is now. Okay. Although they've received some practical, but they need more of that, and they need more equipment and other tools to be able to have a first hand on this kind of production, the oil palm production. So they are all just calling on government and stakeholders to come to their aid, although they've been able to graduate some 129 of the participants.
Okay, Desmond, in the reports, one of the big conversations, and you mentioned it again not too long ago, is the fact that there's an infrastructural deficit as well when it comes to the accommodation structures for the students. I'm wondering, do all the students at the institute come from around the locality, or do you have some students coming from other parts of the country to study there as well?
Yes, please. We have students coming as far as the central region, Ashanti region, all coming to the Father Dogli Memorial Technical Institute. So those in the Ayoma area, that's where the school is situated, some are day students, so they that have minimized the challenge a little bit, but there's still the need for more of the dormitories and classrooms for them.
So for now, how are they coping? How are they supplementing? If what we have is not enough, how are they supplementing in terms of accommodation?
Okay, so now that the 129 students have been able to graduate or are done with their training, they have gone back home, so there's a little space left at the classroom and the dormitory for the continuing students to be able to help themselves with. So the situation is a little okay now, I'll say that, but not what we expect for the future.
That's my final question to you. I don't know if David has anything to ask, but I also want to know, this oil palm production training, is it something that is critical for people within that locality? Is it something that, looking at the community and what they do, the way they live, that can be integral if more people are being trained and trained properly, to do this?
Yes, please. The community or the area is a farming community.
Okay.
The KJP district is a farming community, all the way from Luloti, New Baika to New Ayoma are all farming communities, and most of them deal with oil palm production. So if the school will be uplifted, it will help those in the area to have a first hand for this kind of training. They may be able to do something better.
Okay.
Desmond, so we're talking about the OT region right now, aren't we?
Yes, please.
Okay. So just give us a sense of the tertiary institutions, the spread of tertiary institutions around the OT region, specifically where the Jessican area, where this particular one is. Are there other tertiary institutions, maybe not too far away?
Yes, please. There are other tertiary institutions. We have the Jessican College of Education, which is in Jessican, the township of Jessican.
Okay.
Yes.
And what's the situation like with those ones?
Well, I think since the Jessican has been, the focus is now on the Jessican Training College.
Okay.
Since it produces teacher trainees.
Okay.
And it's been there since, I can't really tell when, but I know it's been there for long. And I think most students are also helping the Jasico school. So the problems or challenges there are not as compared to the one here at the Father Dogli Memorial Technical Institute.
Okay. Now, finally, the 129 that have graduated, what are the prospects like in terms of business in the OT and Volta region areas?
Okay, so the 129 that have graduated now, they have the skills, they are well developed, but their challenge now is funding to start their own business. They've been telling me they want support from any stakeholder, especially the government, come to their aid, since they may not be able to get employment into the government sector or government work.
Yeah.
They want to establish their own businesses and be also able to employ their colleagues. Yes, so they all want funding to start some businesses.
Okay. Thank you very much, Desmond. We
Thank
appreciate
you,
your time.
Desmond.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's our colleague Desmond Ago there with that report from the Father Dogli Memorial Institute. I think it's a very important conversation on different levels.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at one of the areas that we did a fair bit of investment, the planting for food and jobs, and then planting for exports.
Right.
I think that if we say that we want to diversify our cash crop portfolio, I think it's one of the things that we need to seriously be looking at. Indonesia and Malaysia top the global rankings in terms of oil palm production.
That's right.
We are doing in the vicinity of about 250 or so thousand tons in oil palm production, whereas these other countries I mentioned are doing in the millions. Okay, they are doing in excess of 40 million. Yeah. Okay, and we are doing 200,000. I don't think it's rocket science, looking at the fact that we have more land, that are untapped and just growing weeds.
And also
right?
that it's not that we're not necessarily growing the oil palm. It's just that we're not cultivating it with the mindset for export.
Yeah, exactly.
On the scale that we are talking about when you mention Malaysia and Indonesia. And I'm saying this, look, I mean, literacy challenge, what was our topic this year? We asked the young people to write a letter to Minister for Communication and Digitalization, talking about how to utilize technology for poverty reduction and national development. This is one of the things. You go to Indonesia, Malaysia, I mean, you take a look at what they're doing. There's a lot of technology that's been pumped into what they're doing so that they can maximize their yields. When you maximize your yields, you can feed what is local, and the rest becomes money through exportation. We're not doing that. And then the people we have to train, look at the state in which we've left them. And I think we have someone to speak to on the line, but when we can, I would like us to even talk about our mindset about TVET education, technical vocational education in the first place.
So we have one that said Boku, who is a TVET oil palm coordinator. Wanda, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you
very much for the opportunity.
All right. So let's talk about the instruction side of things, training of students in the oil palm sector. The Father Dogli Memorial Institute, how many other facilities train in oil palm, as far as you know, within the OT and Volta region areas, and then maybe nationally as well?
Okay, thank you so much. I would say that last year, in total, we have 5 schools all over Ghana implementing this project.
Okay.
We trained 506 this year with the 5 schools as well. We trained 591 prospective youth into the oil palm industry. As I was saying, we realized a very importance of the oil palm, and as such, we went into partnership with GIZ, who are the founders, and Solidaridad as implementers.
Okay.
So, Father Dogli as a training institute has been able to train 129 prospective youth into the oil palm industry.
Yeah. Let me ask, so we were looking at the Father Dogli Institute a little closely, and we realized that there's quite a bit of a lack of infrastructure there. As part of the funding training, is there any consideration by GIZ, for example, to provide a bit more facility to make their experience as students on campus a little more comfortable? Is that part of the conversation at all?
Good. For now, we have not gone into that aspect yet.
Okay.
For now, we are focusing so much in training the youth to eradicate this issue of unemployment. So, as I said earlier, we've been able to train 129 prospective youth who were equally trained intensively with the practical and the theory in the nursery establishment, land preparation and then plantation establishment, harvesting, farm management, processing and then quality assurance, and also in agribusiness.
Okay.
And I'm happy to inform your outfit that these learners, about 30% of them has already been absorbed into the oil palm industry. They set up themselves. As I'm speaking to you now, our records, 10 of our learners have established themselves into nursery establishments, and they are equally rendering services to farmers in oil palm industry. And the beneficiaries.
Yeah. Now, Indonesia is producing 46 million tons a year in oil palm. We are doing about 250,000 tons. We're looking at what we have as an industry. Is it the lack of funds at the point of entry into the industry that's the issue? Or is that our market is too small to be able to develop, let's say even 1 million tons, per year?
Good. Looking at that critical issue, actually our consumption as a country is more than what we produce.
Okay.
That is why we are compelled to import. So that is why this training is being organized to equip the industries with required technical knowledge and skills so that it can produce to that highest capacity. And that is the target of GIZ and Solidaridad and all partners in this business.
Interesting. I mean, we produce less than we consume, which means there's a large scope for us to train more people, to get them involved. I don't know whether the hope is, as you're training more, these individuals will do, they'll be self-starting, private small business owners, and then, when you add the small business owners together, we get plenty small business owners, and therefore meet the demand, or there should be a government drive to actually do something on a large scale, much larger scale. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Good. That is perfect. Definitely all hands on deck. That will be perfect. We have realized what the government is doing, and we equally call on them to equally push into the oil palm industry. And when we look at Malaysia is doing very well, exceedingly well in the oil palm industry.
Yeah.
And we are seeing this as a country, Ghana, if we should look at the oil palm as another tree crop, aside the cocoa, that would be another way of making revenue for the country.
Yep.
So we need government and then prospective, benevolent people to come on board. We need donors that can support the training, and we are ready to do more. Father Dogli and other 5 institutions are ready to do more.
All right. Wanda, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.
All right. So, this conversation, honestly, I think that maybe oil palm, stands on its own, but there are so many areas like this, Apioko, that I think that if we're really serious, we talk about using agriculture to take us out of the doldrums, right? Honestly, if we were serious about this, I think a lot more investment would go into this particular area to say, look, honestly, we have on the line, joining us on the line this morning, the Honorable Joseph Makubu, who is the OT Regional Minister. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, my brother. Hello. How are you? Hello?
Honorable Makubu, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for joining us on Breakfast Daily this morning.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, let me make this correction. The name is Joshua Makubu, not Joseph Makubu.
All right, okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we were talking about oil palm and the Father Dogli Memorial Institute. Now, we are quite impressed that despite the challenges that the school is facing, 129 students have graduated from training in the oil palm industry, to add to the numbers that we are growing. I wanted to find out, as the regional minister, what's your focus in terms of using oil palm as a major way of, boosting the economy, number one, of the OT region. Also, expanding facilities so that the training of the young people, in the oil palm industry, because it looks like we have a huge way to go in terms of even meeting our national demand for oil palm. So it's like an easy, low-hanging fruit. Yeah. If we invest in the education, expand capacity within the OT region and so on in the rest of the country, you can reduce the youth unemployment and solve a lot of problems with one sweep. So I'm not sure what you think and what your thoughts are regarding this.
Okay. Thank you very much. When we talk about oil palm plantation and then training and other things, in the OT region, when you come towards the Dota, Marigo, the Pepesu, and the Franjinico area, which falls under the Nkwanta South Municipality, we already have a company, Voter Red, which we are acting now to be changed to OT Red, because we are no longer part of Voter region. That is already into palm plantation. Just as the tip of the iceberg. Now, coming to Father Dogli Memorial Institute. In fact, as a matter of fact, my first time I had an extensive discussion with the headmaster and then the headmistress and the then DC for Yasikane Municipality. I felt that Father Dogli Memorial Institute is an institute that we should adopt, look for investors to empower them. And I can tell you that maybe up to 80% of the construction works of even the state in the OT region can be handled by this institute. And by so doing, the school should also be making some things. So I have been actually asking people how that is going to be possible as an institution. Are they able to register on their own to have that kind of a business license to be able to operate? Because they are all in all from the craft of what they can do with their hands before the oil palm plantation and the training that they have gotten into. So we have started speaking with investors. The other time I had a discussion with a member of Council of State, that is Honorable Richard Kings Atipo, and he also indicated that he was going to speak with some, investors from Dubai and Malaysia to see how best they can come down into the region. In so doing, when they come and they establish these factories, that is the easiest way we can first of all get those who have trained and have acquired the skills to work in those organizations, thereby raising their economic status and also being able to support their various families where they are coming from. That, in the first place, will reduce youth unemployment. But what I was thinking would have been a very most beneficial aspect was that now that these people have been trained by an institute of the state, is it possible for us to get funding to support the institute so that the institute itself can go into such a venture, so that at least year on they have students that they can use, and students who are not able to even support themselves to the secondary level, even though it is free SHS now, but maybe because of some one or two things, they are not able to get better grades from the JHS. Then if that kind of facility is there, they can even absorb those who have not been able to go to the JHS system successfully, train them practically, and they also become workers. Then the school will be better placed to expand its frontiers above where it is currently. So it is something that we are looking at, one, to get investors into the region. In terms of oil palm plantation in the OT region, we have the land, the chiefs are ready to release the land for any investor that is coming in. Then that one, those that are currently trained can be there. Then we look into the future, if it is possible for the school to be supported, to also come out with something that at least they are not only training people for the market, but they equally have that business component that will also rake in some revenue. Then the school with time can become self-reliant and even think of moving up from the secondary level to a tertiary level, where in no time we'll have the whole of Ghana coming in there to train in that particular field. And as I indicated earlier, the oil palm training is just one component of what Father Dogli Memorial Institute is able to do. When it comes to building technology, they are experts. When it comes to carpentry, they are experts. So I feel that this is an institute that should be supported, and we are working around that. As soon as we are able to get some investors ready to come in, and then we are also able to make some appeal to central government to consider maybe bringing certain facilities. As we speak now, the TVET Institute in Kratin Chunguru has been established. The one in the regional capital, the land has been procured, and very soon they will also come and establish. So I think when they come in, they can effectively partner Father Dogli Memorial Institute to see how they can expand their frontiers. For us, that particular training is a boost for OT region. It's an eye-opener, and I'm very happy the media has picked it up. Ghanaians will know what the OT region is made up. Beyond the boundaries and frontiers of this country, people get to know that OT region is made up of, very good arable agricultural lands. And when it comes to training, we are also having institutions that are capable of training people to man farms that people invest their money in. So I think in the first place, I'm very grateful you have picked up this story and you have made it one of your topics for discussing. This is what we want the media to be doing as partners in development. But on our part, we are also following on the quiet, trying to get investors come in. And it's not only in the area of what? Oil palm, aquaculture. I can say that out of the 9 districts in the OT region, about 5 to 6 of them are surrounded by what? This water lake. And it's easy when it comes to the area of catfish and other things. The technology we require is not anything that is so complex, but the will and the motivation for people to put their money. And the region is also made up of, if you look at the recent data, provisional data released from the Statistical Service as part of the last population housing census. The region has a very useful population who are not lazy. Even those who have not been able to go to school have gotten themselves trained in the areas of head tracing, string tracing, and other kind of things. So we just appealing, people who have money to invest, they should not look so far. OT region is there and we are ready. So long as we have been able to maintain a very peaceful and cordial atmosphere, your investment will not go waste.
Honorable Makubu, I mean, we're very happy to hear that, and I mean, kudos to you and all of the people in the OT region who are doing well despite whatever challenges you may be facing. But Honorable, I'm wondering, have any conversations gone on between you and your colleague ministers, particularly the Minister for Agriculture and the Minister for Education, so that some of the things that we are talking about can come up and even make it into the national budget? You know, have some of these conversations come up with them?
Oh, yeah. Last year, for instance, the Minister for Agric was in the region here. We had an elaborate and extensive conversation on this, and then it's something that they had even indicated that they will look at how they can get that into their budget and look for some machineries for those who are ready to start up something, even in the area of rice cultivation as well. Our region is also good for that, so that they can start something. The Ministry of Education, we have had an engagement with the Director General for TVET Services, and I can say that at least they have so far responded in terms of making TVET what they call a presence felt in the OT region. As I speak to you now, the first area they started was Crichton Chumbu, where we now have a technical institute there. If you look at the machinery, I think it's something to start with. But in the area of the Dogli Memorial Institute, when I got that information, I picked up the discussion with the Education Minister. And currently, my Regional Economic Planning Unit, they are also working on a proposal in respect of that. So when that is done, we'll present it again to the Minister, and then he will now consider and see the way forward. So discussions have started, and then we are trying our best to see what we can do.
I also think that organizations like GIZ, who are already doing investments into TVET, and then also Voter Red, that uses skilled labor from a place like Father Dogli, could be partners in investment. I don't know if you've had any discussions in this area.
Yeah, but as for Voter Red, we've met a couple of times, but it was basically on how they can expand their production and some other things. That level of partnership, we've not gone to that extent of discussion, but I think it is not out of place since we are always in touch with them. In the next few weeks, I think we'll be engaging them in that direction too. Okay. As far as some other investors, actually, we plan to have an investment forum for OT region where we can engage some people, development partners, the private sector and state agencies last year, but due to certain pitches, we wanted to do it early this year. We couldn't do it in the first quarter of this year, but we have not shown the idea. The planning committee is still on the ground working on it. We'll definitely make sure that it comes to pass this year before we enter next year. Then we'll know those who will commit to us. And then there we can now make very tangible decisions as far as the development of OT region is concerned.
So, Honorable Makubu, before you go, so this engagement that you're looking to do investment-wise, will it include the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, for example, or the Ghana Exports Promotion Agency, GEPA, so that we are also looking not just internally but externally too?
Yeah, so that is why the program, we partition it into two. We're going to have a forum that will definitely be based in Accra because of the traveling time, where we have the Ghana Investment Promoting Council and all those agencies, as well as the embassies around. Then we have a forum where we can discuss that. Then we sell the prospects of OT region to them and invite them to the fair that will be organized in OT region, where we are able to showcase some of the things we can do. Just about last Friday, I was in Nkunya Urupon, where I went to inspect a factory that was put up by one of our own, Clement Jato, to produce toothpick from bamboo and other things. And my dear, when you get there, it's so fantastic. So we want to handle this and sell it to people, then they can come and we'll display what we have from materials that we can make from wood, yeast we can make from wood, beads we can make from our clay that has been discovered in the Jasikan and then the Guan area. And OT has a lot of potential we need to sell to the people. So even as we hold a forum, we engage you, the media, as well, to help us sell it. I am very happy this positive news is coming today. Unlike sometimes where the media always want to pick up on the somehow negative news. So Citi FM, I think you have become a friend of OT region. We rely on you.
But Honorable, when we see challenges, we'll talk about them too.
Yes.
That's what I want. But
once the positive things are there, to highlight them.
Let's engage. When the challenges are there, let's engage and then we can get the resolve.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, I think that the potential is huge.
Yeah.
On a national level, to look at the strength of the different regions and what we can focus on, you know. So just as the Western region brings us rubber trees and cocoa and all of those things, I think if we focus on OT region, Eastern region, do oil palm, you know, and do massive production of oil palm, I think we should be crossing 1 million tons in the next 4 or 5 years.
Absolutely. And
seriously.
I mean, beyond the oil palm conversation and, you know, the OT regional conversation, I'd like to call upon all the regional ministers to go deep, see what's happening in their regions, and then lobby, you know, bring out the, you know, the potential so that we can also highlight them, just as we're doing with what's happening in the OT region this morning, and then push the conversation further so that we can grow as a nation. That's all we want and all we
At the end of the day, that's what it is.
We need to grow and develop, but we can't do that if we can't identify the points that we can expand for growth and development.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes there's too much isolationist things going on.
It's
where
one
everybody's
nation.
feeling like we can do things on our own, we are in our corner, let's mind our own business and nobody should come and worry us. But I think that, look, like I said to the regional minister, if there are bad, if there are poor things and there are challenges going on, we will talk about that. If there are positive things too, we'll also highlight them. I mean, for us, it's about national development at the end of the day. Nothing else matters except Ghana. All right, so I think it's a very important place that we find ourselves. And we've been joined by the Honorable Kofi Adams, who is the MP for Buem constituency. This area sits directly under him. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
All right, so we've been having conversations this morning about a school, an institute in your area, the Father Dogli Memorial Institute, and specifically regarding TVET scholars who have graduated in the area of oil palm production. I think it's a very important contribution to the national discourse on cash crops that we are exporting for the country. And I'm not sure what your thoughts are as far as the level of investment that national government is making in terms of this specific cash crop area in your constituency, and what your thoughts are about it.
Well, I first and foremost must say good morning to you once again and appreciate the effort you are bringing in for us to discuss this very important matter. I really would want to say. And like you said, oil palm has been something that has changed a lot of economy in many countries around. And Malaysia is just one such example.
Yeah.
And history tells us they came to Ghana here to understudy us.
Yep.
They have far advanced in terms of the change of activities that you have from nursing, cultivating, harvesting, processing, marketing. They are making so much out of that industry. And Ghana can equally make it. And that is why I was so much elated when GIZ, Ghana, and Solidaridad partnered Father Dogli Memorial Institute to train some cohorts in this area of the oil palm and what can be gotten out of it.
Yeah.
Indeed, the last week Thursday was the graduation of the second cohort and the retraining of some of the first cohorts. And it's gone very well, except to say that not much investment has come from direct government intervention when it comes to this area of training. It's being championed by, like I said, GIZ and Solidaridad. These are NGOs doing their bit to contribute to the development of our country, Ghana.
Yeah.
Government itself must see it as another area of proper investment. We've gotten the establishment of three crop board, but that is not enough just to put the board in place. You must begin to target what type of tree crop they must go in. Like we've done for cocoa. Cocoa, yes, have contributed significantly, but we are getting to a point where we need to add some others. And oil palm presents us such an opportunity. And taking the young ones through a training that they went to 24 weeks of both field and off-field training in various areas. And if you look at during the exhibition, when they exhibited various products that can be gotten from the oil palm, you really realize that this is an area that the government pays some more attention to. One, will be solving unemployment.
Yeah.
Two, will be raising more revenue, both locally and through export. And who knows next? We can now draw a lot more to develop many other areas. So I think there's so much room for improvement in terms of investment in the area of oil palm. And specifically for Father Dogli Memorial Institute, they are doing so well, but they need a lot more support. Infrastructure-wise, it's not the best, but the principal of the institute has really done so well in managing the little that comes their way. The Parents Association is equally doing a human job in terms of adding to whatever facilities exist in the institute. If you ask, what have I also done as an MP?
Yeah.
I've equally contributed my quota, either through helping to roof some structures that were started by the school and the Parents Association. I've also helped, because a lot of teachers are not staying on campus. Some of them are staying in the part of the Ayoma community where there was no water. I have to help provide water for them, so at least they can also have some, not, I would say, comfortable life. There are things to reduce the stress that they go through to get water and help in lightening the school itself by provision of some lightning gadgets. It's not been easy. It's really not been easy. And the last time we celebrated the centenary anniversary of the ordination of Father Dogli, who has been named, whose name has been used to name the school, I called on government to intervene terms of resource provision, if it's possible to further upgrade the institute to a center of excellence when it comes to seabed training, considering one its appropriate location and what the leadership and management of the institute are doing now.
Yeah.
It deserves some kind of support from the Ministry of Education in terms of equipping them, in terms of infrastructure development, and they will be able to do a lot.
Okay. Honorable, we really appreciate your time this morning. We're grateful to you, and we hope to hear more good news from the Institute and then also from the OT region in the next few months. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So we've been speaking with the Honorable Kofi Adams, who is the MP for the Buem constituency, which is in the Jasikan district. All right.